Hey friends, welcome to our Utsuk YouTube channel. This is our part 8 video tutorial on Java programming. In this video tutorial, we're gonna cover about the types of control structures. As in previous session, we have already discussed about the decision control and also about the selection control. And in this video tutorial, we're gonna cover about the repetition or loop control. So let's move to the content. At first, we're gonna discuss about the repetition or loop control and why to use the looping structure, and finally the types of loop. So let's begin with the repetition or loop control. Repetition or loop control is also known as looping or iteration control. It is used when a program needs to repeatedly process one or more instruction until some condition is met. As we need the loop control because in program we need to repeatedly configure the tasks until the certain condition is met. So in order to configure that instruction for repeatedly, we need the looping control or loop structure. So why to use loop structure? Suppose if I need to print the hello for the 5 times, then do we manually write the line by line for the 5 times? Like this system.out.println hello. Or if you want to sum the number from 1 to 10, and do we manually write the sum like this in program? Absolutely no. So this is not the correct way of programming. So in order to achieve these types of functionality in program, we have the looping structure, and there are basically 3 types of loop structure, that is for loop, while loop and do while. So in this video session we will only cover the for loop condition, and in later on video we will cover while loop and do while. So let's move to the for loop. It is used to iterate a part of program several times. Suppose if you want to configure the same program or something you want to print for the several times, then we will use for loop. For loop is basically used if we have the fixed number of iteration, and there are 2 types of for loop in Java. That's simple for loop and for each or enhanced for loop. Let's see the simple for loop at first. This is the syntax for the simple for loop, and this is the initialization. So initial condition is executed only once when the loop starts, and this one is the condition here. It is executed each time to test the condition of the loop. At each iteration it will check the condition is satisfied or not, and if the condition is satisfied, then only the code inside the for loop is executed, otherwise it will break out of the loop and execute the remaining lines of code. This one is the increment or decrement part, and increment or decrement the variable value. It simply what it does is it increments or decrements the variable. As in the initialization part, we can use the predefined or pre-initialized value as well, or we can even initialize the variable in this part also. So this is the basic syntax for the for loop. Let's see the flowchart of the for loop. So we have the initialization part at first, and initialization can be done with the variable, or the pre-initialized variable can also be used. And here is the condition. If the condition is true, the code inside the for loop is executed, and it will move to the increment or decrement part, and it increases the variable value or initialized value, and again it checks the condition, and if again the condition is satisfied, then it will run the code inside the for loop. Otherwise, in false condition, it will simply go out of the loop and execute the remaining part of the code. So this is the flowchart for the for loop, and here's another one, for each or enhanced for loop in Java. It is basically used to traverse array or the collection in Java. This is the syntax for the for each loop, as it is simple to use because we don't have to give the increment or decrement in variable, and it is basically widely used for traversing the array. We will look this for each loop when we move to the array section. So in order to understand the for loop practically, let's move to the NetBeans IDE. Simply open up our NetBeans IDE. Let's create one new project. Next, and I'm gonna give name as practice underscore 0 7. Let's rename this for loop. Let's remove out this comment. Let's move with the practical section of for loop. Suppose if you want to print hello for the 5 times, then you can also use print line for the 5 times as so. This also gives the same result as if we run this program. You can see that it's giving me hello for the 5 times. But what if you want to print hello for the 100 times? Is it possible to write these lines for the 100 times? So it seems impossible and it consumes lots of time. So in order to print the hello for 5 times or even 100 times or even 1000 times, you can simply use the looping structures as for int I equals to 1, I less than equals to 5, I plus plus, and you can simply print here hello. So let's run this program and it's giving me the same result. So in a simple way, we print the hello for the 5 times. Basically what the for loop does is, at the initial condition the value of I is 1, and whenever the condition is satisfied, that is 1 is less than equals to 5, the condition is true, then it goes inside the for loop and executes the statement. And again, whenever the statement is executed, after that it increments the value of I by 1, and again it checks for the second condition, that is 2 is less than equals to 5, and again the condition is true. Then again it prints the code inside the for loop block. So in this way the iteration continues until the condition is satisfied. Let's see how the I value is being incremented. If I print here value of I, if we run this program, it's giving me the incremented value of I. So what if we want the sum of numbers from 1 to 10 or from 1 to 100, or it could be any numbers? So do we do like this? So it's gonna be lengthy and it's gonna be time consuming, and for getting the sum of up to 100, it seems it could be impossible to manually do this. So we have the loop condition. We can apply the loop condition as, let's initialize one variable as sum, and let's begin our for loop condition. Now let's sum this value of I as I, and let's print the value of sum. So if we run this program, we're gonna get the sum of the number from 1 to 10, and it simply stores in some variable. As let's run this program, it's giving hello from the first for loop, and from the second for loop it's giving this sum. So the logic behind the getting the sum is, as in first iteration the value of sum is initialized to 0, and we get sum equals to 0 plus, and the value of I equals to 1 here, and 1. So this gives the result as 1 in first iteration, and in second iteration the value of sum is changed to 1, and the value of I also changes from 1 to 2, as we have incremented by 1. So the value of I is 2, and we get the result as 3, and in this way up to 10 iteration it will continue, and we get the result as sum equals to 55. I hope that you got the basic knowledge about the for loop condition. In next video session we're gonna cover while loop in Java. So we will meet you in our next lecture video. Till then, goodbye.